More than 50 years after the prison closed down, Alcatraz still attracts 1 million visitors each year. The boat ride in itself is beautiful on a day like this, with views of the city and the Bay Bridge as we travelled across to the island. Originally a Civil War fort, Alcatraz was turned into a maximum security prison as popular pressure to have tighter controls increased in response to the gangster era that came with Prohibition and the Great Depression. The dock is the only way to enter the island, with a steep hill up to the buildings at the top. Today I was welcomed with a friendly, "Hope you enjoy your time in prison," but the inmates wouldn't have got the same treatment. Wall 5 said that you are entitled to food, clothing, shelter, and medical attention. Anything else that you get is a privilege. There are 200 to 300 prisoners at Alcatraz at any given time. Notorious inmates include Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and Robert Birdman Stroud. The only guns would be up in the gun gallery, where guards would patrol the cell block below. When they walked down on this level, they only had their hands as weapons, and they would stay in the middle of the corridor, away from the possibility of arms reaching out from the cells. The cells were 5 foot by 9 foot, with a bed, a toilet, and a small sink. Black and white prisoners were kept separate. There was a high population of hostile rednecks, as the audio tour explained, and only a small number of the officers were black. The worst cells were the ones in D block, where inmates could be confined for 24 hours of the day, and this could last as long as 2 weeks. There were those among the inmates who decided to make their time as pleasant as possible. They would spend their time painting watercolour pictures, crocheting, and playing any musical instruments that they might have. Meals would be served in the dining hall, which was nicknamed the gas chamber, because of the tear gas canisters that were placed around the room, though these were never used. There were few complaints about the food, although one incident did arise when an inmate was so fed up with getting spaghetti that he overturned the tables and a riot broke out. Some windows gave the inmates a view of San Francisco. So there was never a day you didn't see what the hell you were losing, what you were missing, you know? It was all there for you to see. There is life. There is everything I want in my life, and it's there. It's a mile and a half away, and yet I can't get to it. On New Year's Eve, if the wind was right, they would even hear the laughter and music of the people celebrating across the water. There were around 70 employees working at Alcatraz with their families. The children would take the boat to school every day. It was actually quite pleasant, said one woman who grew up here. Although no one is known to have survived an escape from Alcatraz, in June 1962 3 men did allegedly dig their way out, using only spoons. It's thought that they probably died during the swim to the mainland, but they had all 3 been studying Spanish, and I like to think they made it to South America. High running costs and run-down facilities eventually led the prison to be closed down, the last prisoners leaving in 1963.